From industry news to mobile technology leaks and rumors, we cover tomorrow's tech news today. eSIM Tech News.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios podcast live stream episode number 242 on this what day is it? I'm all jacked. I'm all messed up. It is Tuesday. No, it's Monday. Lord have mercy. It is a Monday. Let me redo this. I am all messed up. Please forgive me. I gotta redo this intro so I can edit this part out on the replay. I got some big news. I'm all excited. Give me just a second. Let's redo that. Ready? Okay.
Yeah. Woo.
I just need my space right now.
Fresh off the G5 jet, I'm on my way to a brand new kit.
Welcome back, eSIM Studios podcast live stream episode number 242 on this Monday afternoon, November 25th, 2024. Thank you for joining us today. Got a lot of big news here for everybody. Got to call out a manufacturer for being a copycat. Shame on you. Shame on you. I'm sure you can tell by the thumbnail who I'm going to call out. Now, also have big news. Big news in regards to nothing. Right? Got the phone 3 on the way. I told you we were getting close. And also have some interesting news when it comes to CPUs. We have another manufacturer looking to make their own CPU, and that's good news, right? Although I'm not sure we're going to get it here in the United States, but maybe we'll get into it. Running behind schedule, so this is going to be a quick one. Going to try to run through these. Thank you for joining me, brother. How's your phone 2 holding up? You still enjoying it? Love my nothing phone users. There's nothing like a good nothing phone or CMF phone, may I add. Looking to get another CMF phone 1. I love that little thing. So let's get into it. So if you miss this episode, if you miss any one of the stories that we discuss, I'm going to edit out that bad intro. You can catch the replay. I'm going to segment these into individual stories. So if you do miss one of them, have no fear. I'll upload them individually and you can catch the individual topic and the story on the replay. Also, I'm going to upload this in audio form to our eSIM Studios podcast. You can catch it on any podcast platform: Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio Music app, Amazon Music, YouTube Music, all that good stuff. So let's get into it. Are you locked in? Good. I am too. Yes. You loving it? Good. Well, we'll get to the nothing story in just a second. Let's get into the headline, though, or at least what I have on the thumbnail. It won't keep you waiting too much longer. So if you go over, and I have all the stories that we're going to talk about linked in the video description, so you can check it out for yourself. Let's go over to my website, esimstudios.com. Now, let me share the screen here. Also, if you're in, while I get this screen share set up, if you are interested in tech deals for the holidays, Black Friday, later this week, right around the corner, we're going to have on Friday, we're going to have our live stream Friday, Black Friday. We're going to have nothing. The whole show on Friday is going to be the very best tech deals on the internet in the world, handpicked by myself. We'll go through. If you're looking for a new laptop, we'll find you a good laptop on sale. Desktop, mini PC, earbuds, microphones. We're going to, the whole episode Friday, we're going to do nothing but Black Friday sales for you. But I've already compiled some down in the description box below. But let's get into the story of the day. So, as you know, Samsung's kind of been under fire by me and some other people, right? So I saw this leak by Android Headlines and by Ice Universe on Twitter. He leaks a lot of Samsung stuff. He's a very, very reliable, accurate leaker. And he put out a post earlier today, this morning, in regards to a new Samsung product, a new Galaxy product. Now, it's not the flagship S25 series, right? But it's one of their A series. So it's a little cheaper than a flagship. It's like a mid-range device, basically. Now, so I do have to give Samsung credit because they are continually upping the specs on these mid-range devices, which is good. The internals, they continue to get better and better with every year. But does that device remind you of anything? I saw this device and I shook my head and I put my hand on my head and I'm like, at this point, I'm embarrassed for Samsung, and I'm not even an employee of Samsung. This is embarrassing. Now, I've added Samsung in the video description. I'm going to forward this video to them. Guys, this is embarrassing. So it resembles an iPhone X, the iPhone 10, right? Now, I made a community post about this, and somebody commented. I asked them to please join us on this live stream so I can explain myself. I don't think there's much explanation needed. I have pictures I'm going to pull up showing iPhone X. It's almost a carbon copy. They called me a hater and some other choice words I can't remember, and said I'm just hating. It looks nothing like an iPhone. You're crazy. Right. Maybe I'm crazy, but that looks like an iPhone X, right? Me being crazy and that looking like an iPhone X have nothing in common, right? It looks like an iPhone X. Now, Samsung has come under fire. So, and here's something I don't understand, right? So the Samsung CEO, when the earbuds, remember when the earbuds 3 came out and it basically looked like the AirPods. The case now, yes, it's different colors and scheme, and the cap that you peel back to access the earbuds is clear, but it basically, the design resembles AirPods, right? The design resembles these, and the earbuds do too. Inside here, the earbuds look not identical, right? Because it has like a little different, but if you held them together and you said, do these look like these, you would say yes. And there was another product. Y'all might need to help me in the chat. There was earbuds that look similar, and what else? Was it another phone? Was it a tablet? I don't remember. There was 2 products, earbuds that looked like Apple and something else that looked like Apple. Brain fog. But there was a story that came out about a few weeks after the earbuds launched, and said the CEO of Samsung was furious that their products are resembling Apple's products. And I said, how is this even possible? How is it that the CEO of Samsung, we're talking about the head of Samsung. So Samsung manufactures all sorts of electronics, TVs, obviously, washers and dryers, vacuums. They manufacture memory. So the CEO of Samsung is in charge, is overlooking everything, all products, right? The whole company. But how is it they're probably their most popular division, their mobile division, right? Nobody's live streaming, nobody's making YouTube channels about washers and dryers, right? Their mobile division is their most popular division when it comes to fanfare. So how is it the CEO is unaware of the products that their mobile division is putting out? I found that hard to believe, and it's like a shocker. Like, what? Like, if I was the CEO of Samsung, I would know every single product my company is putting out before they're put out. Before they are put out. Now, he was upset that their earbuds and other products were resembling Apple products. How is he gonna take this? That looks just like an iPhone X. So let me pull up some examples, right? since the person in the community post told me I'm crazy. Let's look at this, right? So here's an iPhone X. You'll see that? It's got that same island on the top left, vertical island, right, up and down. The person said the Samsung Fold series looks just like that phone. And I was like, wait, what? The Samsung Fold? No, it doesn't. The Samsung Fold has 3 individual cutouts, 3 individual sensors, 1, 2, and 3. This new let me see if I can get a bigger picture. Look, that has a camera island with 3 sensors inside that camera island. Now, yes, it may be a little bigger than this one right here, but you cannot tell me that does not look similar. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Come on. Check this out. Can I make that bigger? Okay, so there's the iPhone X vertical up and down sensors, right? Here is the new Samsung Galaxy A56. Yes, it is a little bigger, but it looks the same. Am I crazy? It looks basically the same, no? Yes, it is a little bigger, but it looks the same. And no, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold does not look the same. Watch. Let me pull up a Z Fold. So what the hell is Samsung doing? Why are they doing this? I don't understand. Does not make sense to me. So here's the Z Fold 6. Damn it, it pulled up an Amazon listing. All right, does that look similar to y'all? No. But this does. And this does. So I don't know what Samsung is doing. Their CEO needs to get more involved with the mobile division and needs to tell them, you absolutely have to stop copying Apple. This is not a good look, right? There's no way. I love Samsung. I would rather have a Samsung device, right, than an Apple device any day of the week. Now, I would purposely, if I was in the market for a mid-range phone, I would purposely not get this phone because it looks like an iPhone. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'd be like, I'm not going to buy the copycat iPhone. No way. Even though it'll probably have pretty good specs, but I'm not doing it. So, Samsung, pardon my French, if you have kids in the car, close your ears. Get your shit together. What are you doing? Come on. This is embarrassing. This is ridiculous. And me being a Samsung fan makes me embarrassed. And again, I have no affiliation with Samsung. This is utter ridiculous. So please, 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 please get your stuff together. Okay. Now that we're done with that, actually, you know what? What are the specs? Do we have specs here? Let's see. A56 specs. Since we're talking about it, before we move on, let's see the specs real quick. What are we looking at here? It looks like Tech Advisor. Maybe I needed to add that in mine. Let's see. See, that's what the old one looked like. What is that? A55. looks like the S series. Maybe they're trying to differentiate it between the Galaxy S, and I get that. You don't want it to look like your flagship line, but don't make it look like the freaking competition. Let's see here. Specs, guys. Where are the specs? This will have Gorilla Glass Victus, IP68 rating. What else? Processor. So the A56 will probably have a 6.6 inch HD plus Super AMOLED display, 120 Hz refresh rate. However, the display could support HDR10 plus and offer improved brightness output compared to its predecessor. Was rated at 1000 nits. It's got pretty big bezels. Performance. The A56 is expected to be powered by the Exynos 1580 chipset, which boasts a 1+3+4 core configuration. This includes one high-performance core, which is a Cortex A720 rated at 2.91 gigahertz, 3 Cortex A720 cores at 2.6 gigahertz, and 4 Cortex A520 cores at 1.95 gigahertz. But what about RAM? Let's see here. Got it to be at least 8 now that they're offering Galaxy AI. That's correct. Base model is going to have 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage. Upgraded model, 8 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. It says, however, a 12 gig variant may be available in some countries, similar to the A55. But here in America, they did not get the variant. So we will be on the lookout for this copycat iPhone X, the new Samsung Galaxy A56 model. And Lord have mercy. Look, if this is being leaked, this is what it's going to look like. So I'll have to keep up to date with the copycat iPhone. And that's what we'll call it from now on, to troll Samsung, because it's utter ridiculous. Okay. So back to another big news for the day. So, as you know, getting back to nothing, right? Here's the big, very excited for this news. Nothing, one of my favorite phone brands. I rep Nothing in Carl Pay to the max. I believe, I know a lot of people, no, I shouldn't say a lot, but I'm a bigger fan than most people. Of course, they have a lot of fans around the world. I feel Nothing is needed in this mobile space, in the mobile technology world, especially when it comes to phones. It's so dominated by Apple. It's so dominated by Samsung. Even Google, which is a good thing, gaining market share, 15% market share, tripling their market share from last year. We need Nothing. And even if you're not a Nothing fan, it's good they're in the market. It brings competition. More competition in this field means the better products you and I, the consumer, will get. Now, this is more of like Nothing is more of like a fan-based group of consumers, sort of like how OnePlus was when they first started, right? It's kind of off-brand, but they were really cool. And Nothing is that nowadays, right? So came out with a Nothing Phone 1, big hit, right? Nothing Phone 2, big hit. And then they came out with some mid-rangers, Nothing Phone 2A, Nothing Phone 2A Plus, CMF Phone 1. But it's been a good year and a half since they released the Nothing Phone 2. And typically they stay on a yearly upgrade cycle like most manufacturers do. Now, they did not put out the Nothing Phone 3, which should have come out in July of this year, because the Nothing Phone 2 came out in July of 2023. I remember that day like it was yesterday. I remember being so excited and ordering that thing as soon as it was available. God, I love that phone. Anyways, Carl Pay, right around June, July, August. I think it was August. So it was about 13 months since the Nothing Phone 2 was released. He put out a statement saying, look, we're trying to do something different here with Nothing, especially with the Phone 3. And I think it was about 8, 9, 10 minutes, maybe it was about 10 minutes, right? Basically, he was saying it's not ready yet, right? meaning, look, we're looking for real innovation. We're looking for something different. We don't just want to put out an update to a phone every year where all it is basically a little spec bump and it basically looks the same. Well, which would be a good thing for nothing because they have the lights on the back, the see-through back. But putting that to the side, he said it's just not ready yet. We're trying to do innovation with phones here. And I remember getting on, we reviewed that video. I remember getting on here and saying, look, I get it. And giving them the benefit of the doubt, right? Saying, look, please take your time with this phone. I agree. I completely agree. Please don't put out just a generic update or a spec bump that looks kind of similar. He said in that video where it's basically not going to be ready yet, and they're not going to put it out until they are ready. Well, it looks like they're about ready. Now, before we get into the information, he said in that video they're going to be implementing AI into this phone, but not the normal AI that me and you are used to. It's not going to be this iPhone AI where, is it really AI? I don't know. It's not going to even be the Galaxy AI, which is a little more AI-ish than iPhone. And I don't even think it's going to be like Google AI. They're trying to do something different. They are trying to implement AI into the operating system. So not just have some AI functionalities in the settings, not just a couple of rewriting some text, like kind of like what Apple has. And I think they're even going to go one step farther than what Google is doing with their Pixel. They're trying to implement AI into the operating system, the full operating system. That's what he said in the video. So I'm assuming this new Nothing Phone 3 is going to have more AI baked into the operating system. Right now, when he said that, that made us think. I remember thinking, well, when it comes to the Phone 3, if you're going to bake AI into the operating system, the big choice, the number one choice, the biggest choice they can that can make or break this phone is the CPU. That's the heart and the soul of every phone, is the CPU. Now, they're a flagship phone now, but they're less expensive than a flagship phone. Now, when making a flagship-like phone, but you want to keep it around mid-range pricing, you can't afford to put in the latest and greatest CPU. You just can't. Now, with the Phone 2, they introduced the Phone 2 with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Or was it? No, it was the 8. Was it the 888? I think it was it 8 Gen 2? Damn, why am I having a brain fart today? I was doing so good up until now. Anyways, it was a year-old CPU. No, 8 Gen 1. 8 Gen 1. Excuse me. 8 Gen 1, which was a year and a half old at the time of the launch of the Phone 2. And this year, they cannot afford to put the Snapdragon X Elite in there. It's 20% more expensive than the last generation, right? Because Nothing is trying to look right around that $600 price point. I believe that's how much the Phone 2 launched at a reduced price for early adopters, for early buyers. I think I paid $599 for mine. So they're going to try to stay right around $600, $650 at the most. So what do you do? There's the dilemma. What do you do? If you want to have a flagship experience, but you want to keep the price under flagship, what CPU are you going to go for? We thought it could be MediaTek because their last few devices, the last 3 devices they've released, Nothing Phone 2A, Nothing Phone 2A Plus, and the CMF Phone 1, all had MediaTek CPUs. Now, I personally was okay with that if that's what their plan was. MediaTek's been putting out some really, really good silicone lately. Very high performing, good on the battery life, very efficient. So that was one option, right? Another option was going with was going with Snapdragon. Exynos is definitely not an option. I would not want a Exynos CPU in a Nothing phone. So the next thing, you're kind of limited when it comes to CPUs. You got MediaTek, which they already have a strong relationship with, as I mentioned, putting them in the last 3 devices. But there's also Snapdragon, right? But what Snapdragon do you put in there? Do you put the 8 Gen 3? Kind of expensive, and if you want to keep the price down. Plus, if you remember, Snapdragon came out with an S version of their flagship CPU. So Snapdragon has the 8. The 8 moniker is their flagship. 7 moniker is their high mid-range CPUs. And if you remember, about 8 months ago, Snapdragon put out S versions of their flagship CPUs. The Snapdragon 8S Gen 3, Snapdragon 7S Gen 3, right? So the S version is a AI-focused CPU. It's not as powerful as its counterpart. So the Snapdragon 8S Gen 3 is not as powerful as the 8 Gen 3. The Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 is not as powerful as the Snapdragon 7 Gen 3. However, it may not be raw performance as its equal, as its counterpart, but it makes up in the AI department. So they kind of fine-tune it. So instead of being for raw performance, they fine-tune it. They draw back that raw performance and then put it into multitasking. And Nothing Phone 3 fans are going to be, I think, delighted to hear. I am excited that it appears Nothing has finalized the CPU for the Nothing Phone 3. It appears that Nothing is going to use the Qualcomm Snapdragon 7S Gen 3 for their CPU, which is a great choice in my opinion. So the Nothing Phone 3 has appeared on Geekbench. And what do you know? Whenever you perform a Geekbench test, the CPU, the specs get announced. So what do you know? That's what we got. We got these specs for the Nothing Phone 3. Now, there's some good news and some news you kind of have to think about and dig a little deeper to get to the bottom, which we will do right now. So the Nothing Phone 3 appeared on Geekbench, a forthcoming model of the Nothing Phone, meaning a fourth. This is the Nothing Phone 3, but it's kind of their 4th gen phone, right? Because they put out the 2A series. So technically it's their 4th version, but it will be called the Phone 3. Make no mistake about it. The device, the Nothing Phone 3, we have a model number identified as Nothing A059, features an unspecified chipset that corresponds. They tried to hide it, but we cracked the code. It's basically the 7S Gen 3 SoC with a prime core clocked at 2.5 gigahertz, 3 performance cores operating at 2.4 gigs, and the 4th efficiency core running at 1.8 gigs. So here is the Nothing Phone 3 model number A059 Geekbench scorecard. According to the listing, the device is equipped with 8 gigabytes of RAM and achieves scores of 1,149 for a single core performance score and 2,813 for the multi-core score performance. It operates on Android 15 and is expected to be accompanied by a more powerful, more advanced Phone 3 Pro model, which can and will succeed the Phone 2. In addition to the Snapdragon 7S Gen 3, the Phone 3 is anticipated to feature a 6.5-inch OLED display with a starting price projected to be around $600. Now, here are two guesses. So, with 8 gigs of RAM, I wonder if they're going to put out two models because it's unclear, right? This is all we have. All we have is a Geekbench score to go off of. So let the ideas and let the wondering run wild. So is a 6.5 inch display seems a little less, it is a little less than the Phone 2 display. The Phone 2 is a 6.7 inch display, right? Now, it's a little smaller, right? Now, here's the deal. 8 gigabytes of RAM. Needs to be more, right? You would think the Nothing Phone 3 would at least have 12 gigs of RAM. That's what my Nothing Phone 2 had. 12 gigs of RAM, 256 gigs of storage. So, we have two scenarios here. Is this the Nothing Phone 3 that we have all been waiting for? But is this the base model? Is it going to have a base 8 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs of storage? Or, because they're definitely having a 12 gig version. So is this just the absolute base model and they're running it on Geekbench? Or is this possibly the Phone 3A? Because we're coming up on a year on the A series as well. The Nothing Phone 2. I know they put out a 2A and a 2A Plus, right? So the 2A Plus came out like 6 months after the 2A. So we're coming up on a year for the 3A. Is this actually the Nothing Phone 3A and not the Phone 3? So see where I'm going? So there's like two kind of avenues we can go down. Is this a lesser, cheaper model, meaning the Phone 3A, and we have yet to see the real Phone 3 specs or Phone 3 benchmark scores? Or I don't know where this is going, but I'm excited nonetheless just to see something. I think I mentioned about 2 weeks ago, I said, guys, we're getting close on... Well, I didn't say we're getting close. I said, I believe I said, don't be surprised if we see something soon. Just something, right? Because trust me, they're working on it in the background. They want to put a phone out as fast as possible when it's ready. And I was thinking, that's got to be right around the new year. I didn't know it'd be this fast. I thought it'd be in late December, early January, where we would see some sort of leak, whether it's a benchmark leak or a picture leak, right? Something. Now, nothing has been very quiet. Carl Pei has been very quiet on their social media in regards to this. But this is our first evidence. So it made me wonder, if these are the scores of the 7S Gen 3, I couldn't remember what my benchmark scores was from the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 that was in the Nothing Phone 2. So what I got here, I actually went back into my video history and pulled up a benchmark video that I did. So let's see what the scores are with this. Let's fast forward. This is my video. I'm not going to get a copyright, but let me scroll through here and see what these scores are. So here are the scores. So that's the Pixel 8 Pro on the right and the Nothing Phone 2 on the left. So the Nothing Phone 2 on the left scored 1726 single core score performance and got a 4432 in multi-core score. So let's go back and see what the Nothing Phone 3 scored. So, well, 3 or 3A. So the Nothing Phone 3 or 3A scored 1149 single core. And the Nothing Phone 2 scored 1726. So the Nothing Phone 2 scored higher than this proposed Nothing Phone 3. And let's see what the multi-core score was. So the multi-core was 4432. And let's see what it was over here. 2813. So this has to be this cannot be their flagship phone. So I think this is another device. I'm going to have to rethink. I don't think this is the Phone 3. There's no way they could. I understand the 7S Gen 3 is a step back in performance compared to the 7 Gen 3 because it's geared towards AI. There's no way it's going to be that. It's basically half the performance of the Phone 2. I don't believe this is the Phone 3 now that I go back and look at the scores. There's no way. So this has to be I bet this is their new Nothing Phone 3A. Wouldn't it be cool if Nothing came out with the Phone 3 and the Phone 3A at the same time? Kind of like, well, Google doesn't put out their A series on the same time as a flagship. You don't have to do. So that's one good thing about Nothing. They're not following what everybody else does. So technically, Nothing could come out with the Phone 3, a more powerful phone, and a Phone 3A, a cheaper phone, obviously less performing phone. So I'm guessing this is not the Phone 3. Let's see. I think that's going to be the regular Phone 3, and there's going to be a Nothing Phone 3 Plus. That would be cool. That's what I'm saying. There has to be, that's what I think it is. I think there has to be two phones here. A cheaper phone and a more expensive phone. But because the giveaway, there's two main reasons why I come to that conclusion. For one, the screen is smaller. It's a 6.5 inch, right? Nothing's not going to put out a 6.5 inch flagship. And the second thing that stands out that I come to that conclusion with are the benchmark scores. It's basically pretty lackluster. Now, they could just be its very first test. And remember, benchmark scores are not everything. They have yet to fine tune it. Maybe they were just running. Maybe it's literally the very first test that they threw the phone together and wanted to see, just testing it out, right? So I'm sure you can clock it up, get some higher performance out of it, and get some better scores. But there's no way this is the flagship phone that we've all been expecting. This has got to be their cheaper version. I'm anticipating the scores got to be, well, they don't have to be, but you would expect the scores to be higher than 1726 for single core and 4432 for multi-core. I mean, look how good the performance is. The Nothing Phone 2, actually the Nothing Phone 2 beats out the Google Pixel 8 Pro, and I believe the 9 Pro as well. I'll have to rescore mine. I can't remember what I scored on here. Actually, you know what? Let's find out. Hang on one second. Let me get my scores. All right, so I got my Pixel 9 Pro XL. I have the scores here. So this phone scored single core 1385. Damn. So the Nothing Phone 2 beats the Pixel 9 Pro XL in single core. It blows it away. The Phone 2 had 1726. The Pixel 9 Pro. Damn. Is that even right? Because the 9 Pro got less than the 8 Pro. Holy crap. I'm going to have to retest it. This was on Android 14. With the scores I'm reading you is from Android 14. I got Android 15 on here. Not that it's going to make a huge difference, but there will be a difference of somewhat. And then you see multi-core at 4551. So it's, I mean, not much better than the Phone 2 beats it. Single cores right there in multi-core. And the Pixel 8 Pro, the 9 Pro XL barely beats the 8 Pro in multi-core. So I definitely expect more. So now that I think about it, this has got to be the cheaper one, I bet. So, but nonetheless, it's good news. It's very good news because that means we're getting close. Whatever they put out, I'm going to buy. I'll just put it that way. I'm a huge fan, and whatever they offer to the public, I'm going to purchase, and we will test it, and we will enjoy it because I guarantee you, even though these scores don't tell the whole story because they are so fun to use, that Nothing Phone 2A that I have, it's like my favorite phone. And just looking at these scores does not tell the whole story. It's smooth as butter, and it is blazing fast, going from operation to operation, from application to application. It's very fast and fluid. So whatever they put out, trust me, it's going to be a badass phone. So It may not blow away benchmark scores, but it'll be fun to use nonetheless. So I will keep everybody up to date. Stay tuned to eSIM Studios. Subscribe to eSIM Studios, and we will keep you up to date with all the nothing news. Now, I'm running out of time as we speak, but I wanted to get to this story because I believe we owe this attention. Regardless of what you feel about Chinese manufacturers. This is big news, and I think you're going to see more companies start to do this. So, Xiaomi will now officially unveil its custom 3nm chipset next year, with a report stating that the silicon will be positioned to replace Qualcomm and MediaTek CPUs. Now, not around the world, specifically in China. Now, this is news because the tariffs. So this directly has to do, remember that story I put out when Trump got elected, how the tech world is going to change now that Trump is elected? Well, this kind of ties into it. So the whole tariff thing, I don't know where that's going to go. Trump has stated he wants to put tariffs on every Chinese product that comes in America. He's going to charge 20% tax on top of that product. So if you buy something from AliExpress and it's $100, well, we're going to have to pay $120 because there's a 20% tax on top of it, right? So I believe there's no statement or any major rumors, but it looks like China is either A, going to do the same thing to us. So whatever we export to them, they're going to put a tax on it, a tariff on it, essentially. So the Chinese person who buys an American product is going to have to pay 20% extra just like we are. Or they're just going to stop buying U.S. products altogether, right? Now, what comes out of the U.S.? Well, a lot of stuff. But in the tech world, Apple iPhones and Qualcomm CPUs. Qualcomm, based in America, headquarters in San Diego. MediaTek, I don't believe is where is MediaTek based? I'm not sure, but anything coming into the country is going to be probably taxed. And I'm speaking about being in China. So Xiaomi is a Chinese company, so they're kind of getting a lot of their products, specifically tech products, to be homegrown, right? So I believe, for one thing, Xiaomi's looking to make their own silicon, their own CPU, just like Google's trying to make their own CPU, just like Apple made their own CPU. For one thing, it's good to have full control over your entire CPU. It just is. It's better control. You can kind of fine-tune it to how you want to do it, because how it works is companies that are using Qualcomm CPUs, right, like Samsung, now, they have a lot of pull and they have a lot of influence on if they really, really need something done inside of a CPU. They obviously have to get it approved by Qualcomm. So, hey, we need the CPU to do this. We need to. I would like to see it fine-tuned a little bit. Well, if Samsung wants that fine-tuned, they have to go to Qualcomm and ask them to fine-tune it, right? So there's a relationship there. When you make your own CPU like Apple, you don't have to get approval. You have to get approval from inside Apple, but it makes it a lot easier from inside approval on your own products than having to go to a whole new company and get approvals. So that's why Google wants to make their own silicon CPU. Plus, for cost reasons, it's cheaper to do that, honestly. But Xiaomi, that's one bonus. They don't have to ask, because Xiaomi right now uses Qualcomm. They use Snapdragon, which is a U.S. product. So I think that's the second reason. Second reason is they don't want to depend on anything U.S. made. So that's the second reason why they've started to make their own CPU. Now, I don't believe they're going to have... I take that back. They may have... You know what? I don't think they're going to have TSMC make it, because the U.S. has told TSMC, hey, we don't want you selling any CPUs to any Chinese made electronic. And that includes Xiaomi, right? So the U.S. is putting pressure on TSMC not even have zero ties with China, even though Taiwan is technically still a Chinese-owned island, but I'm not going to get into that whole mess. So the U.S. is putting pressure on TSMC not to manufacture any CPUs for any Chinese company, period. So that's why Xiaomi wants to make their own CPU, and I believe manufacture their own CPU, quite honestly. Here is the story. I have it here. It says reports indicate that Xiaomi plans to officially launch its 3 nanometer, which would be on par with the best, latest, and greatest nodes, right? The 3 nanometer is what the Snapdragon 8 Elite will be on. They're gonna launch this upcoming year, so just literally within a couple months away, which is likely to create considerable unease amongst competitors. Specific timelines for the launch have not been disclosed, but it is anticipated that Xiaomi will utilize one of TSMC's 3 nanometer variants for its custom chipset. So there you have it. I'm not really sure the politics going on that are playing out behind the scenes. I know there's lots of pressure on these companies to kind of cut ties with other companies. But in October, it was reported just last month that Xiaomi had completed the the outline of its first 3 nanometer chipset, indicating that the next step is to establish a partnership with a foundry to commence mass production of this Xiaomi CPU. The detailed report does not specify which quarter the announcement will occur, prompting additional inquiries as the situation develops. So I have a related story also tied in here. TSMC reportedly achieves 100% utilization for 5 nanometer and 3 nanometer supplies, highlighting its market dominance. So get this. Recently, TSMC informed its Chinese clients, i.e. Xiaomi, via email. So TSMC informed its Chinese clients who buy CPUs from them via email that they would no longer receive shipments of 7 nanometers, a directive seemingly from the US, which challenges that of Samsung is encountering and improving its yield of 3 nanometer. TSMC remains the sole viable partner for Xiaomi for mass production of wafers. Okay. Xiaomi's commitment to mass producing its first 3 nanometer chipset is undoubtedly will be subject of rigorous examination, with the risk that the U.S. government could necessitate licensing for Xiaomi to receive shipments from TSMC. Here's a whole nother story. I really got to go. Here's another thing. I don't really, and depending on how you look at it, I'm not sure I like the U.S. telling TSMC what to do. TSMC is not an American company, right? It's Taiwan. It's a Taiwan company, and basically the U.S. has told TSMC you cannot sell certain CPUs to Chinese. I think it was 5 nanometer and 7 nanometer. However, 3 nanometer they have not been told they could not ship 3 nanometer chipsets to Chinese manufacturers. I don't really like how the U.S. is telling them what they can ship and what they can't ship, who they can have as clients and who they cannot have as clients, right? Like, and look, depending on how you look at it, they don't. So if you're from the U.S. government standpoint, China is our adversary, right? Competition. But it doesn't, for whatever, I get why the U.S. is doing it, but it doesn't sit well with me. Like, TSMC should be able to do what they want to do. Like, the U.S. has no governing body over TSMC, minus the plant in Arizona. And by the way, the plant in Arizona, what a total wash that is becoming. They're not even going to produce the best CPUs in Arizona. They're going to produce 2-year-old chipsets that the technology has been out for almost 3 years. They're not even going to mass produce the very best CPUs in Arizona. So, well, whatever with that. But MediaTek is based in Taiwan too. What do you know? Thank you for that. I had no idea. Thank you. I gotta roll, guys. I'm really, really late, but thank you for that information. I did not know that. Okay, well, that makes sense. They're good with their chipsets. So, look, tomorrow, we're gonna get into the U.S. on more U.S. government getting involved with technology. Wow, what a freaking disaster that's been. And if you want to hear me rag on the U.S. government some more, join me tomorrow, because we did a report saying they're forcing Google to sell Chrome, right? Which didn't really sit well, but they're also forcing Google to not have a browser for the next 5 to 7 years. What? So we'll get into that tomorrow. And how does that play into Google's timeline for, okay, they were going to sell off Chrome, so now they're going to merge Chrome OS and Android, and then put that on laptops, put that on the new Pixel laptop, put that on Chromebooks. Now that the government doesn't even want them to have a browser for the next 5 to 7 years, I don't think, we'll get into it tomorrow, I don't think the people at the highest levels of the government have a freaking clue what's going on in the tech world or how like this stuff works. I honestly don't. I'm going to save it for tomorrow, I promise. So join me tomorrow and you'll hear me go on another rant. So, and we'll have more stuff. We'll see if I can dig into that Phone 3 CPU mess. And I got a couple other stories for y'all that I'm going to save for tomorrow. And then don't forget, Friday we're going to have a Black Friday. Nothing but tech deals. If you've been waiting to buy a laptop on Black Friday, or your mom a laptop, or your wife or your kid a Amazon an Amazon Fire tablet, wait till Friday. I'll probably do it earlier in the day too, so you can have more options in the afternoon. We'll dig into nothing but tech deals on Friday. It's going to be a fun day, because that's one little weird skill of mine. I can find the very best deals of any. If you want a blue Pixel 8 Pro, I can find you the best deal across the whole internet. So that's a weird skill of mine, but you will come to the right place if you're looking for good tech deals. Join us Friday, and then join us tomorrow, and I will go on another rant about the U.S. government getting involved with our tech world. So I appreciate you joining me. Thank you very much. It means a lot. This is episode 242 on this Monday afternoon, November 25th. Please have a safe and enjoyable holiday. If you are hitting the roads for a Thanksgiving road trip, please, please, please drive safe, be safe, stay off the phone, put on eSIM Studios podcast, put on a YouTube channel, and set the phone down on the side. Please do not get distracted. Please stay safe. I want to see all y'all back here for years to come. So I gotta roll. Peace out. Take care.